let me start with overview introduction to construction industry. The vibrancy of the construction industry is no longer foreign in Malaysia. It is in line with all the development activities today. Construction tasks involved in providing buildings, infrastructures, manufacturing sites, and other operations from conception to completion. To be more clarified, every structure normally begins with planning, finance, and design that will proceed until the facility is available to be used. Since the widespread of coronavirus pandemic, this industry has been badly affected. Over the first quarters of 2020, the country's real worth at 2015 current price declined by 21% to RM24.8 billion year on year. Civil engineering works also declined to negative 29.7%, were the most affected during this time, along with non-residential negative 10.4% and residential operation to negative 24.9%. Under approval of Malaysian government, the 2021 budget allocated for this industry was worth RM322.5 billion ringgit, and that is 2.4% greater than the previous year's amount of RM314 billion ringgit. This industry creates jobs and contributes the growth of the economy. Next, let's proceed with company background. The company that our group decided to choose is Ecovest Berhad. On early stage, the company name was Ecovest Bina Sendirian Berhad and was established on the 2nd January 1985 by Tan Sri Datuk Lim Kam Hong. In 1992, company renamed it as Ecovest Berhad after publicly traded. Wisma Ecovest at Taman Sri Stapa is the company present headquarters in Kuala Lumpur. Ecovest Berhad is a Malaysian firm that specialises in investment management, civil engineering and construction activity such as turnkey, project design, construction and project management. This business experiencing in mega property developers such as construction of the Petronas Twin Towers, the Kuala Lumpur International Airport and the main structure in Putrajaya, Malaysia's Federal Administrative Capital. Other developments include the construction of the Duta Ulu Kelang, also known as Duke Expressway. This will offer road user various roads and have proven to be effective traffic dispersal system for reducing traffic congestion in and around Kuala Lumpur.
Next, I will talk about the risks that exist in the construction industry. The first risk is the fundamental risk, which refers to intrinsic risk, or we can call it as absolute hazard that happens with no uncertainty whether the loss will occur, and makes the risk is uninsurable. As we all know, scientifically, we cannot expect when the fundamental risk happen, and for sure, the consequences of it will affect the entire economy and the growth of society. In fact, nature of the fundamental risk cannot be controlled by any person or human or individuals. For example, natural disaster like flash flood, earthquake, hurricanes, bad weather, and the economic inflation or deflation. The major cause of fundamental risk that impact the construction industry is natural disaster. For example, natural disaster like earthquake might happen anytime, and this phenomena is unpredictable and surely can cause the damage to the soil and will affect the unstable building, or later may lead to the collapse of the building. I said this because, based on my research through article written by Muhammad Rashidul Zaman, Malaysian has experienced bad landslide in 1993, which involved one block of 12 stories high apartment, where these cases are quite familiar among Malaysians, which is the Highland Tower.
For the second risk, I'm going to proceed with the safety risk in construction industry. Safety risk refers to an identified potential of hazard that could cause a self-injury, accident, death, or disease in a certain location. This analysis is based on the physical circumstances in which worker develops a specific unfavorable reaction. However, employees frequently conduct an evaluation about possible risks at a particular work site. This risk is very important to prioritize in construction areas because it has high probability of being involved with more severe danger. In the early phase of construction, most of the company definitely want more workers and at the same time reduce their expenses by hiring foreigners and people who are less experienced, which are riskier. This is because the firm can reduce the payment of employee salaries compared to more skilled people. Lack of compliance for work techniques, failure to wear personal protective equipment, and failure to comply with the safe use of tools, vehicles and machines are all factors that contribute to workplace accidents. Site supervisor or contractor taken for granted without doing a regular monitoring on levels. This is very important because of their long-term exposure to risk. Building workers will become less alert to perils. Accidents from construction sites have often occurred also stemmed from the carelessness of the contractor in doing their work. Less compliant on established standard operating procedure, it will have access to more hazard which may expose them to injury or worse will be handicapped, especially for construction workers. According to data, 1,116 work-related accidents occurred between 2011 until 2016, with construction sites accounting for 37.85% until 51.50% of accidents resulting in non-permanent disability and permanent disability, also with death. In Malaysia, the number of accidents in the workplace is quite higher compared to other countries such as United Kingdom and Singapore.
Besides that, legal risk is one of the risks in construction industry. And legal risks significantly are company, organisation that relating to the legal matters. And the common cause is by non-compliance with the government laws, rules and regulation, as well as those of other statutory organisations that regulate their business itself. And business contract and agreements, asset and related lawsuit are only some of the things that might put you in legal trouble. For example, Assembly Resources MOHD has filed a lawsuit against EcoVest and its subdivision company over their aborted joint venture for the Pan-Borneo Highway job, which was cost was 2.1 billion ringgit Malaysia. Because of building project take a lot of time, money and effort, the failure of construction company to correctly identify and assign risk in various types of construction project can cost the party involved a lot of money and time. Operational risk is a term that describes the risk and uncertainty that a firm encounters when conducting its regular business operation, procedure and system. Operational risk can be divided into causes that occur by management quality, defects in system operation, personal action, process structuring and natural disaster. For example, there was an accident of 13-story block of flats collapsed in China, in which an investigation found that dumping excavated soil at a nearby riverbank had caused ground instability, causing the building to collapse. And this kind of accident occur because of company management is failed to analyze an investigation on the suitable land or ground to build any kind of building. Having a proper and creative management can lead the company avoid that kind of accident and cause expenses for renovation or maintenance.
Next is personal risk. Personal risk referring to anything that brings people into a threat of losing something and sometimes can be considered as a valuable. Parallel to the same of risk itself, personal risk truly related to employees or specifically in our topic is contractors. In fact, when we talk about the construction industry, personal risk issues are not foreign and also significantly happen, especially will involve workers. The common problems that are experienced by construction workers is their financial planning after their retirement. According to my research, Malaysians on average may not enough extra funds for retirement. For instance, according to a statement released by New Straits Times, on the back of rising COVID-19 instances and the reimposition of a statewide movement control order, Malaysian labour market is projected to continue under pressure. construction workers will be affected by the risk of unemployment and resulting in losing of their income. The other major cause of personal risk that affects the construction industry is premature death. As we can highlight in our report, it involves the workers who had accident during daily working. They need to cover their medical expenses by themselves. This will indirectly burden them as they have insufficient funds during their retirement. For example, workers that get chronic disease while working and have to undergo therapy session every month by using their own money. So it's like wasting money to go to medicated for their chronic illness.
Next, we go to the business risk. Business risk refers to the company exposure that they might be losing money or failing. This happens because there is high competition among companies. It will affect the company's revenue. Besides that, it happens because there is changing customer satisfaction. It reflects on how consumer feels while engaging with the company. This will lead to the company to have an deficit in capital. Other than that, it happens because there is increasing raw materials price. Most of the price hike due to the increased building activity. This will affect the developers. Furthermore, it happens because there is a demand risk. It is possible that the company will underestimate the demand. As a result, it will have an impact on the company expenditure.
Before we go more further, I will explain a little bit about the evaluation of the potential risk. Based on the table, the green box is labeled as the lowest risk group, as it has low potential to happen. Next, the yellow box is labeled as the medium risk, while the orange box will be labeled as the high risk, and last is red box, which is it is the most extreme risk, where the potential of the risk to happen is high. It is important to make this evaluation because we want to verify the possibility that directly affect the level of risk in the construction industry. The very first consideration that included in the potential risk is fundamental risk. Regarding to the evaluation, we found that the severity scale show number 4, which we found that the fundamental risk has major impact towards the construction industry. However, the likelihood only scale number 1, which means that the risk is rarely to be happen on a daily basis. Even though the risk is stated as a low level of frequency to happen, if we take it for granted, the consequences significantly will cause massive impact to the construction industry. As we know, fundamental risk is the risk that cannot be controlled and expected by people. For example, the consequences of natural disaster surely will impact the structure of land, building, and the construction activity itself. Due to the major impact of the risk and the rarity of the frequency, I can say that the fundamental risks are stated as medium risk.
Next, for the safety risk. The frequency and severity both are score 5, which means it is likely to happen almost very often. In fact, safety risk is the most mandatory thing in construction sector. As the risk itself explains, there is a potential of hazards that could cause a self-injury, accident, death or disease in a certain location. The impact of the risk will very much lead to the bad circumstances to the construction industry. The construction industry has a global safety imbalance that is not being solved adequately to decrease the impact of risk in the construction process. This problem will directly or indirectly have effects on the workers itself. We can conclude that safety risk is the most extreme risk and is almost certain to happen and has catastrophic impact.
Next, evaluation of legal risk. As you can see, the severity for these types of risk is only scaled at number 1, which means that only insignificant impacts will affect to the construction industry. However, legal risks are likely to happen frequently as the result from the evaluation is only scaled at number 2. In fact, construction is one of the important industries in Malaysia as it impacts the country's growth and economy. So the probability to being involved in the offences of the law is low. However, there are also some causes made by irresponsible individuals, such as malpractice and failure to comply with the building codes. So, I can conclude that this legal risk only stated as a medium risk.
Furthermore, operational risk in the table has shown the frequency to occur is very high, as it scored at 4 and severity is moderate as it recorded at 3. This signifies that the likelihood of operational risk occurring in any given condition is high, as it is likely to occur in a firm. As we highlighted in the part of operational risk, we can conclude that this problem occurs due to the failure to comply with the building code in terms of structure of building and safe workplace. Also, fraud may also be found in construction organisation, as it has a direct impact on the management internal operation, because it was occasionally the common thing to occur in this type of business.
The evaluation of the personal risk has been provided, resulting in the low risk severity indicator has been stated at the scale 2. The main factor of the risk at minimum scoring is because it is based on the individual response toward the risk for avoiding influences on their lifestyle. Moreover, the likelihood for this risk is 1. The reason is due to most of the construction companies will come up with guarantees for contractors by providing extra allowance and insurance. This surely will help in ensuring the health and finances of workers secure as well as undisturbed. When a person is hospitalized, a lengthier term of a medical leave is offered. This medical and sick leave provision slightly reduce the potential of personal risk in the construction activities.
Next, we go to the evaluation of the business risk. We can see that the severity for this type of risk is scaled at number 3. It means that there is a possible to happen in construction industry. The result from the evaluation frequently scaled at number 3, which give moderate impact towards the industry. However, there are causes which are competition with other countries. Government intervention is needed to prevent a monopoly in this industry. So overall, I can conclude that legal risk only stated as a medium risk. Next, we go to the takaful product. Every construction company need to have their own protection for their business to avoid any bad thing happen. Takaful product for construction company is contractor or risk CAR takaful. It will protect against losses or damages due to various perils that affect the construction. Besides that, it will cover the suffer of any unforeseen and sudden physical loss of damage from any cause. Then, it will cover the third party which the liability in particular events such as accidental bodily injury or illness of a third party. This construction industry also can be considered as the riskier industry compared to others. This takaful application is for Bumiputra contractors. Next, we go to the ways to manage risk. There are 3 ways that I can explain that possible to manage risk in this sector. The first one is working with the right people. Working with the right people can help the company to run more smoothly. It will take less time since they are competent people who understand their field. Working with the right people can give the good news for the firm as there is a backup preparation for the operation company in future. It also can lower the turnover cost because they are expert with the field. The second point is preparing a variety of options, as preparing a variety of options can act as backup plan in case things do not go as planned. Therefore, it will not affect the completion date and the project timeline. The option also can give the project greater control. The option provided must have a high quality in terms of effectiveness and also the option must able to fit with the situation. The third point is the project must be properly planned, which comprise a prioritized list of actions. It will help to identify areas where possible dangers may develop. By appointing a risk manager or management team It will help to avoid the risk.
In summary, we can conclude that all risks that occur in construction company need to take as a serious matter to manage it properly. Besides that, it shows that safety risk is the most likely to occur during company's development and project. Safety is one of the main causes in construction to look carefully in order to avoid any circumstances. Also, the risk matrix has shown the level of each risk, whether they are in low or high risk situation in construction industry. Based on the risk matrix, safety risk is technically in class of extreme risk, which can give a massive impact toward company financial, time and money and reputation. However, there is a solution which gives a lot of benefit to company, workmen and third party. Construction company need to apply contractor or risk takaful as their protection from any unforeseen and sudden physical loss and damage. This product is highly recommended for Bumiputra contractor as to follow the lawful of Islam. In the end, construction companies need a strategic and proper planning in managing their own company risk in the future ahead.